I'm on no medications at all.
How long did it take you to get off the medications?
Because I had a corn sensitivity, the great irony of my healing was every single one of the medications that I'd been given that were prescription medications had starch, which was made from corn. So every time for the whole years I was on medication that I took a pill, I got worse. And so when I went on my first fast, I knew that hidden things could be in medications, so I quit them. And when I took them again, ding, 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 I realized they were making me worse.
Then, are you taking any vitamins or probiotics, that kind of thing now?
I make my own probiotics. If you love to cook, I've got a non-dairy probiotics video out on YouTube where I make probiotics from about 20 different things. I absolutely love doing that. So I make my own kefir, I make my own probiotics. Once you make something like sauerkraut or kimchi, it keeps for a year if you want in the fridge, so it's safe.
Do you have any permanent damage? Did you get any permanent damage?
Not that I'm aware of. So what happens when you stop the inflammation is you stop the ongoing damage, and the more joint damage you have, the harder it is to heal. But if you keep doing the second half of my book, the first half is all about how to avoid the problem foods. The second half is other supportive things that can help you heal after you've stopped the war. It feels like when you get rid of the problem foods, you stop the war in your body. But then there's all sorts of supportive nutrition that just helps in general and also helps rebuild joints. So if I had a little bit, I may have been able to heal that.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Charlene. Do you avoid the use of a microwave because it affects the molecular structure of food in general?
So Charlene's question is, do I personally avoid the use of microwave because of how it affects the molecular structure of food? Personally, I do not. I have friends that are totally shocked at me and think that I am beyond irredeemable that I use a microwave. But I'm okay. Maybe I wasn't using a microwave very much when I was healing. So I don't know whether that made a difference. Sometimes you have to do extreme measures when you're healing, but then, afterwards you got a little more leeway. So I actually like the convenience. I still cook and I don't always use it, but sometimes.
What's your website?
It's www.conqueringarthritis.com. I've also got some cards here. It has my office phone number. It has my email. So if you have follow-up questions, you can come up and pick these up.
Where's your office at?
I have an office out of my home in North Central Phoenix.
You mentioned earlier about sweeteners. Does that include stevia?
Stevia, you can usually, at this point in our commercial evolution of how it's sold, get pure stevia. So if it's pure stevia, it should be okay. But you have to be careful because often it's cut with fillers or other ingredients. So you just have to look at what those other ingredients are and decide whether there's any risk to you.
Is the contamination generally true of most supplements? They're found in, pills and gels, whatever you're taking. Is that contamination common?
The question, what is your name?
Peggy.
Peggy's question is, do supplements and pills commonly have ingredients that you don't know about that are contaminating that could be a problem for you? And the answer is yes. There's some very, very good companies that do full disclosure. So depending on whether you're only gluten sensitive or, with some of my clients, it's almost impossible to find any food or any supplement that they can take because of the contamination. But you have to just be very, very savvy. So if you can find a reputable company and it says no gluten, you can usually rely on that. I would actually probably talk with somebody like Margie and confirm that what you found is also what she found, or other people in the room, just because it can be very tricky to get good information from companies sometimes. With the best of hearts, sometimes they can mislead you and you're the one that pays.
Just like food, the less ingredients, the better.
Yeah, the less ingredients, the better. The more ingredients, the more chances there are for there to be accidental contamination. And one of the tricky things is, in this country, we have two labeling laws. One is called the excipient law. So if I have something like chocolate, you have to list everything that's in that chocolate. So for instance, lecithin is usually derived from soy. I think sometimes it can be derived from wheat. So if there's lecithin in your chocolate, you probably don't want to have it unless you know it's gluten-free. But if you had another product that has chocolate in it, all it has to have on the label is chocolate. It doesn't have to tell you lecithin because it's considered an excipient. Same thing with salt. If somebody adds table salt to something, they don't have to tell you the dextrose is in it. If I have pure salt, they have to tell me what else is in it. Once the salt's been added to something, they no longer have to tell me the dextrose is in it. Then there's another really annoying law called the standard ingredients law. There are over 200 common products that they have long lists of ingredients that are called standard ingredients. And the company can use any of those ingredients in the product, and they might choose to only reveal 2 or 3 of them on the label. Maybe there are 20 ingredients in the product, but they're only labeling adding 2 or 3 on the label, and because they're allowed to do that by the standard ingredients law. So that's where it becomes really important to call companies. Just because it's not on the label doesn't mean it's not in your product.